What if I told you that a single object, lost for thousands of years, could completely change our understanding of the earliest art in the Americas? Well, today we're digging into one carved bone that holds an absolute universe of mystery. So take a look at this. This is the object in question. At first glance, it really looks like the fossilized skull of some kind of dog or wolf, right? It was found completely by accident way back in 1870, deep under the ground in the Valley of Mexico.
And right away, that's where the questions start piling up. Is it really a skull, or is it a sculpture, a ritual object? And who, way back in the deep past, could have possibly made it? You know, these simple questions would end up puzzling scholars for more than 100 years.
To really get what this object is all about, we have to go right back to the beginning, that moment it was pulled from the earth. Honestly, the story of its discovery is almost as wild as the carving itself. Get this, an engineer who was working on a huge drainage project found it buried 12 meters down. That's about 40 feet. So this thing wasn't just lying around on the surface. It was locked deep inside ancient layers of soil, which was a huge clue to its incredible age. Just look at this timeline. The carving itself is now thought to have been made somewhere between 14,000 and 7,000 BCE. Insane, right? But after it was found in 1870, it just disappeared. It vanished into a private collection for over 60 years, totally lost to the academic world. And that long gap, well, it only made the mystery deeper. Eventually, scientists figured out what it was actually made from. And it turns out, it's not a skull at all. It's the fossilized sacrum. That's the big bone at the very base of the spine from an extinct kind of Camelid, a distant relative of the camels we know today that used to roam all over North America.
Now here, you can really see the artist's genius. On the left, you've got the artifact, and on the right, a natural, uncarved sacrum. Just look at how the artist brilliantly used the bone's existing shape. The natural holes and the curves, they practically suggested the form of an animal's head. It's incredible.
For decades, the biggest debate wasn't even about what it was supposed to be, but whether it was art at all. I mean, could this just be a weirdly shaped fossil? You know, a total fluke of nature?
The very first scholar to study it, a man named Mariano della Barcena, had absolutely no doubt. As early as 1882, he saw clear tool marks on it and said, without a doubt, that it was made by human hands.
But here was the problem. It was found by a construction crew, not on a proper archaeological dig. And that meant its original context, the specific layer of dirt it came from, was gone forever. Without that crucial piece of data, skeptics had a lot of room to argue.
So in 1923, one critic basically laid out the four big hurdles. First was, is it a real fossil from an extinct species? Yep, everyone agreed on that. But the other 3 points were totally up for grabs. Was it found in its original spot? Were the cuts definitely man-made? And was it carved back in ancient times, or maybe much, much more recently? Today, though, that debate is finally over. It's settled. Close analysis proves it. Those two circular nasal cavities, they're perfectly symmetrical and were clearly carved out on purpose, probably with a sharp flint tool. It is now accepted around the world as an authentic masterpiece of prehistoric art. Okay, so we've established it was made by an ancient artist. But that just opens up an even deeper question. Why this specific bone? Why go to all the trouble to carve the sacrum? I mean, really think about it. Out of an entire skeleton, with all these different bones to choose from, why was this particular piece, this big triangular bone at the base of the spine, so important? And here it is. This is the central clue, and it's been hiding in plain sight this whole time, right in the name of the bone itself. Sacrum comes from the Latin phrase os sacrum, which literally means sacred bone. The idea of this bone being special is thousands of years old. And this wasn't just some old Roman idea. Anthropologists like Bryant Strauss have shown that later Mesoamerican cultures, the descendants of the people who likely carved this thing, also saw the sacrum as a profoundly powerful bone. They connected it to sacredness, to resurrection, and even to fire. And the meaning just keeps building from there. Its location, right near the reproductive organs, links it directly to fertility and the creation of life. And what's really amazing is that this reverence for the sacrum isn't just a Mesoamerican thing. You see it in cultures all over the world, from ancient Egypt all the way to India. So, after all this, what does this one, single, mysterious object really teach us?
Well, this might be one of the very earliest examples of a universal human impulse, seeing a shape in a random form. You know, like when you look up at the clouds and you see an animal, or you see a face in a piece of toast. That's what happened here. An artist, thousands and thousands of years ago, looked at this bone and saw an animal looking right back at them.
So, to wrap it all up, here's the story we can piece together. We know a person, thousands of years ago, took what they saw as the sacred bone of an extinct animal and carved it into this incredible form. But what we can never truly know, because this comes from a time before writing, is what it all meant, its exact purpose, or the full story it was supposed to tell.
And that leaves us with one final, pretty profound thought. This entire story, this amazing window into the mind of an Ice Age artist, was found completely by accident. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other sacred stories, how many other masterpieces of our shared human history are still just waiting, buried right beneath our feet?